Hello and thank you for watching. I'm Ashley Van Dyke with Advantage Software, and on today's video, how to create group macros in Eclipse, I'm going to show you how you can create a single keystroke that'll execute any number of macros that you assign to it. This will save you time, keystrokes, and help you make more money per page. Group macros allow you to assign a number of macros to a single keystroke, and then you can use a secondary keystroke to select those actions. One of the most popular group macros already extant in Eclipse is the block mark option. If you hit hyperkey B, you get this list of options that you can select from the macro list. This is a group macro called block, and it has all of these options that you can execute by using the letter on the left. So if I hit C, it'll copy what I have highlighted to the clipboard. If I hit D, it'll divide or split the file, so on and so forth. And so I'm going to show you how to make one of these macros. The macro that I'm going to make will allow you to switch between channel 0, channel 1, and channel 2. In this example, we'll say that channel 0 is the audio going to my scopist over Connection Magic. Channel 1 is the audio that I've recorded for myself at a higher quality rate. And channel number 2 is audio that I've received from a videographer. And so I won't want to use these three separate audio files with something like this seating chart and autoplay. However, I might want to refer to one or the other to see if I can hear something better in it. So I'm going to make a group macro that'll allow you to easily switch between playback channels. The first step that I'm going to do is make the first macro. After I have the first macro created, since these macros are all going to do the same thing, they're going to select a channel, I can use the same steps and just change the channel selection in the macro. So the first thing I'm going to do is make the first macro, which will select channel 0. So I'm going to use the macro recorder to make this macro. I'll go to Edit, Macros, Record, and then I'm going to use my keyboard to change to channel 0 and record those steps. So I'll press Ctrl-Shift-A to open the audio control panel. And in the audio control panel, I see that the A under channel is underlined. That means that if I hit Alt-A, I can access the channel drop-down list. So I've hit Alt-A, and channel is where my cursor is now, and so I can hit channel number 0 to select channel number 0, and then press OK by hitting Enter. Those are all of my macro steps, so now I can go to Edit, Macro, Record, and you'll see that it has all of the steps that I hit in between pressing record. So first I have Ctrl-Shift-A to open the audio control panel, Alt-A to select the channel selector, 0 to select channel 0, and then Enter to complete the change. And so group macros are organized entirely by the name of the macro. So I'm going to give this macro a name that starts with a curly bracket. And then I'll do colon, and then I'm going to do a 0 so that I can select a 0 in the list to execute the macro. And then I'll do channel 0, close curly bracket. And so this is going to be the same as my other macros as well. I'll just change it to be 1 and 2 instead of 0. And so if I press OK and create this macro, I have it assigned to speed key Control-Shift-Alt-S, but you can click speed keys and type in here to assign a speed key. And then I'll press OK. And now if I go to Alt-U to the Edit tab and then Macros, I can scroll down to open curly bracket channel selection, and this macro is in this list now. I can highlight it and press New to make a new blank unnamed copy of that macro. I'm going to give it exactly the same name, except this time I'm going to specify that it's going to choose channel 1 using the 1 key. So for the name, I'm going to type in open bracket, channel selection :1, and I'll call it channel 1, close curly bracket. And I'm going to highlight the 0 in the macro steps and press the delete button. And then I'm going to replace that with a 1 so that this macro will change me to channel 1. I don't need to enter a speed key for this macro since the first one, channel selection 0, already has a speed key entered. You only need one speed key per group macro. So I'll press OK. And now if I scroll down, I should have both of those macros here. And I can highlight it again and press New. And then this one will be to switch to channel 2. And I will again highlight the channel number selection, press delete, and then I'll replace it with the one that I want for this macro instead, which is channel number 2. And again, I don't need a speed key entry for this option since it's a group macro and channel 0 already has the speed key listed. So I can press OK, and now I'll have all 3 macros, channel 0, channel 1, and channel 2. And I'll be able to select them by pressing 0, 1, or 2 on my keyboard after pressing Control-Shift-Alt-S to bring up the group macro selector. So if I go back into my document and hit Control-Shift-Alt-S, you'll see that I can choose from channel 0, 1, or 2. And right now, my settings, if I go and check under Alt-U, or actually I can actually just go to Tools, Multimedia, Control Panel, my channel right now is set to 0. So if I press Control-Shift-Alt-S and select 1, and then go back to Tools, Multimedia, Control Panel, my channel selector is now set on channel 2. If I press Control-Shift-Alt-S and hit option number 2, go back up to Tools, Multimedia, Control Panel, now it's changed from channel number 1 to channel number 2. And so I can do it again, press Control-Shift-Alt-S and hit 0 to select channel 0. And under Tools, Multimedia, Control Panel, it now says channel 0 again. And so this is an easy way to build a group macro or to build a macro that switches channels if that's something that you desire. You can use group macros to do any number of things, and there are a number of group macros built into Eclipse. If you go to the Edit tab of your user settings and then to Macros, you can see that at the top are all of the group macros that are built in. There are a number of them for closed captioners. However, there are also a number of them for converting numbers, changing your display, and scanning and playback options for speed, as well as threshold and things like that. There are a lot of them for scanning and block marking, and I recommend coming in here and looking at these macros if you want to give them a try. If you do decide to use one of the existing macros, it's easy to assign a keystroke to it, or check and see if there is already a keystroke assigned to it. So for instance, if I would like to use the playback speed group macros, I can highlight the first one in the group, which is playback 1, 100%, and click edit. And I'll see that it already has a hyperkey key assignment. I can always hit the speed keys and add a standard key option if I wanted to do that. And now standard key Control-Shift-Alt-W will open up the group playback speed macro for me in addition to hyperkey shift bracket. So if I exit out and do Control-Shift-Alt-W, I get the playback speed options. And if I do shift bracket, since I am in hyperkeys, I also get the playback speed options. Group macros are a great way to allow you to execute any number of commands and save keystrokes while you're doing it. It prevents you from having to set up and memorize a unique keystroke for each of the steps within the group macro, and simplifies your workflow. Thank you for watching today's video about group macros. As always, Advantage Software is available to help anytime 24 hours per day, 7 days per week, including weekends and holidays. If you have any questions about macros, the macro recorder, group macros, or any of Eclipse's other great features, please don't hesitate to call us at 800-800-1759 or 772-288-3266 for international callers. Email support is always available at support@eclipsecat.com. Thank you again for watching. Please subscribe to our channel and like this video if you enjoyed it. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.